So we've looked at quizzes, and we've looked at how to put questions into quizzes, and we've also looked at quiz banks or question banks, and we've learned a little bit how you can use question banks. Now what we're going to do is try to bring it all together and show you how you can utilize question banks in a quiz and how you can use question groups. So we've already covered the new question button, and find questions is another option. So in this case, if we want to add questions to this quiz, we can do that by simply finding questions and going to an existing question bank. Let's go to one that we've already created. Okay, so we'll click 2 questions from this question bank that I've already created. And we'll just pick those at random. We've selected them. We'll go to Add Questions, and you'll see that they've been brought into our quiz. So we had 2 questions before. Now we have 2 more questions that we added from a question bank by selecting Find Questions. The other thing I want to show you is question groups. This is useful if you want to bring in or create a group of questions that are all similar in nature. So if you're in a biology class and you have a number of questions about cellular structure, you could create a question group and put all of those questions together. Or if you have a question bank already created that has something to do with cellular structure, you can create a group and bring questions in from that question bank. So there's a number of different ways you can use this. I'm going to click on New Question Group, and I'm going to name this one Electricity. And I'm going to bring in 3 questions on electricity from an existing question bank. Now, again, there's 2 or 3 ways you can use all of these tools in Canvas. You don't have to link a group to a question bank. You can create a group and add questions to it individually if you'd like to, but I find it most useful to use question banks and bring in a group of questions that have to do with one topic into my quiz. So that's what I'm going to do this time. I'm going to link to a question bank. So I want 3 questions to come in from a question bank, and I'm going to go ahead and find my electricity questions that I've already created. I'm going to select, and when I do that, it says that questions will be pulled from the bank electricity questions, and it will pull those questions at random. If you wanted to bring in all the questions from a bank, of course, there's 5 questions in my electricity question bank. I would put 5 there, and it would bring all of them in. So I have that done. I create group, and it shows that it's going to bring in 3 questions in this electricity group on this quiz. So what I'm going to do now is I want to go ahead and save. And then I want to click on Preview. So I have that option. So here's the preview of my quiz. You'll see there are 1, 2, 3 questions from my electricity bank. There are the 2 questions I brought in from a quiz bank, and there are the 2 questions that we created originally using the new question button. Now, if you want to see what this looks like from a student view, I'll show you how to do that. If you go to Settings and you go up to the right, there's a button Student View. You'll click on that. We'll go to Modules, and you'll see there's no quiz there. Why? Because I forgot to publish it, and that's all right. It's a good learning opportunity. So I'm going to click on Reset Student. I'll explain that in a minute, and leave Student View. I'm going to go back to Modules, and I am going to click on the cloud to publish this quiz. Now it will be available in our student view. So let's go back down to Settings, Student View, Modules, Energy Quiz. So this is what it looks like from a student's point of view. We can click on Take the Quiz. When we do so, the timer starts. You can see that on the right, and we're presented with the questions. can just go through. It's a short answer. I just happen to know the answers to these. And we'll click on Submit. And we'll see that the answers are shown. See, I got that one incorrect. And you can see my feedback boxes where I put them in. So these are all correct, correct, correct. And that's what it looks like to a student. Now, before you leave Student View, if you use Student View to take a sample quiz or submit a sample assignment, you want to make sure you click on Reset Student. And then after you click on Reset Student, you want to click on Leave Student View. And after we've clicked on Leave Student View, we're right back to where we started, to our energy quiz. So just a real quick recap. We looked at how to create a quiz today, a number of different ways to put questions into a quiz, whether you're doing them one at a time or whether you're pulling them from a quiz bank or a question bank. We also looked at how to create question banks. We looked at how to create question groups and how to populate question groups from quiz banks. We also looked at basic quiz settings. One of the things I want to stress is that sometimes when you look at all of these features or these advanced features, you think, oh my God, creating a quiz is so hard. It's really not difficult at all. If you don't want to use quiz banks, you don't want to use any complicated settings or assignment groups, you don't have to. You can just create a basic quiz. You can go into your module, select new quiz, and do it that way. So you can make it as complicated or as simple as possible, but I would encourage you to take advantage of some of the tools, especially quiz banks, because they'll save you a lot of time. And there are other tools when it comes to grading, like SpeedGrader, that we're going to look at in another module coming up that is also very useful when you're using Canvas. The one thing I want to point out to you just really quick before we end this series on quizzes is I'm going to go back to modules again. As you recall, when I started this series, I said that you could just click on the plus button and create a quiz in a module doing it this way. That's one way to do it. It's the way I prefer to do it because I tend to work on courses on a module basis. So I tend to work one module at a time and sort of fill things in as I go. That's the way our course blueprints are set up, and it's the way I work. But there's another way to create a quiz. You can simply go over to quizzes, and when you do that, you'll see all the quizzes that are in your course, and you can simply click on the blue button on the right side, Add Quiz, and you can create a quiz the same way from there. So it really depends upon your workflow. If you're the kind of person who builds out one module at a time, that's great. Or maybe you're the kind of person who likes to build all of your quizzes first, then all of your discussions next. You can do it that way as well. So I just wanted to point that out to you, and I think that there's some great versatility in Canvas, and I'm also thrilled about the option that it saves all of our questions so we can recycle and reuse them. So that's it for the Quiz 2.0 training, and next we're going to move on to other items such as rubrics, grading, and analytics.